Here we are. Ooh, it was a different song.
It works.
Yeah. Hey, it's the YouTube Video Geek. Here we are again. Another live show for you.
What's up? Oh, we're having too much fun today.
I had to give it a little jazzy nose. I was like, hey, let's start with
jazz.
some music.
The
And I hit
intro.
the wrong button. Oh well. All righty. So Joe, we don't have a lot of reviews today. So I think the thing to do is just talk about some of the things, some misconceptions that I've seen in the group that that Malcolm and I run together, Malcolm Lawson and ourselves. Yeah. So a couple weeks back, there was a post, and this caused a lot of discourse. And it was about deleting a bunch of your videos on your channel, like doing the big purge. Because they, in their thought process, is because it's weighing down my channel because those videos don't get any views. What is your theory on it? And let's discuss.
All right. Okay. So is a couple. One, I personally think that it matters.
There's something going on with your microphone.
Oh, what's going on? Is it too loud?
It keeps cutting in and out, in and out, in and out. Like you're talking and then you're getting every other word. Hold on. Let's see if he's going to unmute. What happened there? Dude. No, there's no, now there's, let's see. Let's hear you.
Hello.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you kind of sound like you're in a bucket, but that's all right.
Well, that's weird. I don't know why. Let me check my presets.
Well, at least you're not, like, I'd rather listen to that than the in and out all the time.
Yeah. Let me see. How about now? Is that better?
You still sound like you're in a bucket.
How about now? Oh, you know why?
Why?
Because into my actual mic.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that's why.
And you're the expert. What a genius.
Look at that. Found out real fast. When we were dancing, I think I hit record and it unplugged my mic.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what happens, man. You got carried away with dancing.
Yeah, I got going crazy with that. So your question was, does it weigh it down? What are my thoughts? Here's my thoughts. I don't think it matters at all. Like it personally, I look at it as, for me personally, going back and seeing where I was to where I am in making content, and like I come so far as being comfortable in front of the camera, as far as the information may have changed a little bit. But me personally, I'm not going to go through my channel and I'm not going to go delete 100 videos because they're terrible and because they don't look good. I look at that as my journey on YouTube, and I look at it and go, you know what? Like at the time, I was pretty darn proud of that video. So I didn't delete it because I would, you know, if knowing what I know now, I would have done it differently. But at that point, I was very proud of it, proud enough that I uploaded it. So to me, or I didn't know any better, to be honest with you. I didn't know any better. So to me, I think that it is a disservice to yourself to delete your old videos because you don't get a catalog where you were at to where you're at now.
All right, here's my theory on it.
Let's hear.
I pulled my my microphone up. So when it comes to deleting videos, I definitely come from the school of don't do it. But there's a reason. There is a reason to delete some videos. If you started your YouTube channel and you started making videos about all sorts of random stuff like the balloon fest and biker fest, and you know, you just were trying to get traction to your channel and you thought this was the way to do it, but all of your videos are educational when it comes to real estate, those are two separate audiences. It makes no sense. I know people, like when I first started on YouTube, they're like, oh yeah, I got a video with 100,000 views. It's on my kid's Little League game. I'm like, all right, first of all, that's creepy. Secondly of all, like why, like that doesn't even suiting an audience. They're like, yeah, but it still gets views. I'm like, but it's about baseball. Your channel's about real estate. No wonder why your real estate videos aren't doing well. You know, it wasn't the same thing. That's the only time I say ever to delete it.
Right.
I have a video that's sitting out there that was my top performing video forever. And it was about getting the smell of dog pee out of your carpet when you're selling your house. That was my top performing video. I hate that video. It's funny because it's got my dog in it and everything, but I mean, it has nothing to do with my channel now, but it's still related to real estate.
Right.
And so to this day, that video still sits there as much as I can't stand it. Occasionally it still gets watched.
Right.
People will need to get that smell of dog pee out of the carpet. But yeah, I'd never go in there and start going in and just deleting a bunch of content. That's also a negative sign. Like YouTube's like, what are you doing? Why are you deleting that?
Yeah.
What's going on there? You're actually better off just unlisting it than you are just doing a group bucket dump.
That makes a lot of sense. Obviously, like my real estate channel was much specific to real estate, so I didn't have kids,
there is something going on with your audio because it will sound like you're talking. It's like you're double.
Is it echoing? Okay.
It literally sounds like you're speaking double. It's not echo, it's double.
Well, give me another second here, and we're going to adjust again.
Oh, look, we got somebody watching, living in Wilmington County, Tennessee.
Okay. How about?
Oh, that's even worse.
It's worse? That's the setting. Like that's the story. The setting on it. Okay. How about now?
Okay. Did you go? Like, I want you to do me a favor. This is everybody that's on StreamYard. This happened to me. So if you go into the settings and hit all the ticks for the settings for audio, it should straighten it out because that happened to me a couple weeks ago. Yeah,
I did that, and it's still it's not working. Let me change microphones first. Turn back.
It literally sounds like your max headroom. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll just continue to discuss because I can talk anybody's ear off.
Yeah, you keep chatting away for a second, and I'll get this figured out.
All right, I'll just do that. I know that there is some school of thought when it comes to dumping a bunch of videos. Now, the only other time that I would say, go ahead and do that is if you were doing a whole complete channel reset. Like you're going to completely start with a whole new channel action plan. You already have a bunch of videos lined up to fill in that space that you just dumped a bunch of videos. And then you're going to like start fresh basically. But even then I wouldn't hit the delete button. I just make them unlisted. I like the whole thing. Once that delete button's hit, it's permanent. It's never coming back ever, never, ever. So
how about now?
All right, why don't you give us a sentence, my friend, and we'll see how it goes.
About now, am I coming in loud, out, and clear, or is it echoey?
You're still. Did you say loud and clear? Did you say
No.
that? Oh well,
Hold
that's
on.
what it sounds like.
I'm gonna leave. I'll be right back.
Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, I thought it was you that did the question, the question with the deleting of videos. I realize there's different schools of thought to it. I didn't make up my school of thought. I mean, I'm not a genius when it comes to this, but Daryl Eves is. And there's been people that have asked that question of him several times. If you have content that's just not doing anything, it's not doing anything to your channel. It's not hurting, and it's definitely not weighing it down. So I don't know where that comes from. I think it's actually more harmful. And I've heard this too. I've actually heard this from a lot of experts. It's actually more harmful to go through and delete a bunch of videos at once than it is to just kind of unlist them and put them in put them in an old playlist that no one else has. Call it the memories playlist, and no one else can see it. Make it an unlisted memories folder on your channel.
Okay. Look, I don't working, or if it's still doing the same thing, it must be my internet.
I think it's your internet then, because you totally are like, am I doing this? It's like
it's going so slow and so slow. How lame.
It's going so slow, so slow.
I might not be much then.
All right. Well, remember when you sounded like you were in a bucket? Do that one.
Oh, you think that will? Well, if that, then it's got to be something with or with the.
I'd rather you sound like you're in a bucket.
Yeah, hold on. Let's see.
Hold on. Let's see.
Without the mic, is it still doing it?
No.
It's not doing it now. So it's not the internet. It must be something with this thing.
I think it's good. Do you need a new HDMI wire? My husband is notorious. No matter what electronic we get, he's like, we need a new HDMI cable. I have like a box full of HDMI cables, and whenever time he says it, I like.
So it shouldn't. I don't know if let me try something else here. I'm just
man.
plugging all
We're
kinds
gonna
of
do this
stuff.
live on the air.
Yeah, why not? We got some time to kill.
It's not like there's anybody watching. If you guys have any questions while Joe is trying to get his crap together, go ahead and put them in the comment section, and I'll answer your question while Joe's
while I'm trying to
putting on his makeup. I will say the other thing that came up recently was this was not in Malcolm and I's group, it's in another group, and they were talking about thumbnails, and this made me laugh. They said, I just don't have the time or the energy to like waste on thumbnails. I hire people to do them. And I'm like, so I can't help myself. I asked them, I'm like, okay, you hire somebody to do them, but do you know what to tell them to do? And they're like, well, that's their expertise. That's what they should be knowing how to do themselves. I shouldn't have to tell them. And I'm like, but do they know how to research the right way in order to make the proper thumbnail? And because like the thumbnail that they made looked, I swear to God, it looked just like something a gamer would have. Nothing like
well, they're good. Am I echoey again?
Yes.
I'm just gonna, you know what? You're gonna have to just listen to it with in the bucket sound.
I'd rather the bucket. Much rather have the bucket. And
I'll have to figure it out after. So that's annoying. Okay, so I don't need this thing then because it's not working. But yes, I agree. They're good at graphic design, but that's not the point. The point is to understand like how to tell a story and how to tell your story on that thumbnail.
100%. And like they'll even have some good titles on there. And this thing just looked like super generic. The guy was just sitting there with this like, like that just. Yeah. With the arms, even with the arms
the very cold, look at me.
Right. But he was even small. Like you couldn't even see his face. So he was like, you could see from his like mid thigh down, and he's kind of like off to the side. And then it was like a very plain background with a bunch of words on the thumbnail, and he was like, what do you think of this thumbnail? And I'm like,
yeah.
So I was trying to help him. I think he got offended. But, when it comes to thumbnails, I want everybody to know that graphic designers are really good at designing graphically, but they don't necessarily know what's perfect for the niche that we're in, like the real estate niche. And then you have a specific niche within your real estate world, right?
Right.
And your thumbnails need to tell a story. They can't just be words on a piece of paper. I mean, that would have worked maybe in 2014, maybe, right. But not today. They have to be really good, really, really good.
Yeah. That reminds me is as we're talking about this stuff, that if you notice, like a lot of the major platforms now, they even change out the thumbnail of what the movies are and everything like that, So it's like one of those things where they've realized the same important thing of user behavior of, I've got to change up. I can't have the same graphic for this movie. I got to take a different clip or something out of that, make it more exciting and compelling for them to want to click on it, to then read the title or description. So this is more about, user behavior and viewer behavior of how can we get them to stop the scroll and how do we get them to click on your video as opposed to a competing video or a video, that even if you have the best content in the world, if you can't get their attention on your thumbnail, then it doesn't matter how good your video is.
100%.
But that's how important it is, right? And so if you're gonna take that and hire it out, you probably should have really good directions. I'm not saying you have to design it, but you should have some really good ideas of how things should be placed, so that the person designing it has very detailed directions. Because most graphic designers, when you sit down to talk to them, they're going to say, what do you want? Mm-hmm. And then they make what you want. And if you don't tell them, then they just make something up and it could be completely different than what you want. Just because it looks pretty doesn't mean that it's going to convert.
I concur. I used to make some thumbnails and I thought were really pretty. And then I found out that ain't that wasn't gonna work.
Yeah.
That wasn't gonna work. I wanna show somebody who's a student of ours, and I'm gonna give him a little shout out here because I am so incredibly proud of him. This is a student of ours who went through our program and he's been implementing the things that we've been teaching him. Matter of fact, I found out that we actually already collapsed the amount of subscribers he had in his old channel. I think it was like 4 or 5 years old, and he couldn't get views on it, and he didn't know what to do. So this is his brand new channel, started fresh, learned how to launch a channel correctly, and he already has a video out there that has over 10,000 views. In 2 weeks, he has 11,000 views on his third video out of the gate.
Yep.
Third video out of the gate. And this one, talking about thumbnails, this one right here, he had another thumbnail on it. I didn't like the thumbnail. I told him to change it. We went through different variations. So I'm going to show you like how this all came about. He had this yellow kind of thing. I said, don't do that. And he was like, then he changed it to this, where it had this in the background. And then he had so many different variations of this thumbnail. One of them had a sports car in it.
Yeah, he's leaning up against a yellow sports car.
There it is. Yeah, the sports car. I'm like, no, this isn't. No, I don't like this one. But we did come up with an idea that was more in like this with Graham Steffens that would kind of pretty much say the same thing with his own spin on it. You know, it's being inspired by the original, but having your own take on it. So he did, and I like it, and it brought the views right up.
Final one, he did a couple more, and then I think that one's it right there.
Yep, that's the one. Yep, that's it. And I think he had like 8 views on it. It was not doing well. Then he changed the thumbnail out, and now it's
doing well.
Yeah, I hit stop share. Share screen.
I can't get my microphone to work. You can't share the screen.
I can do it. I'm no Joe Eves. I know stuff. Let's see. Now it's already at 389 views.
Yep.
Just by changing out the thumbnail. That's how important thumbnails are. I know we were talking about erasing stuff, but we already talked about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how much can you really go over on that? I think this is, hey, it's Scott.
Hey, Scott. We just have you as a Facebook user because you're watching in the private Facebook group we have.
But that goes to show like how important knowing your audience, knowing your viewer, and then serving them something that's going to help them do it. And I mean, all of his views are gaining traction. I mean, there's has 7 videos, and they're all doing very well. Now, not all of them started out well. Some of them were kind of duds, and he had to tweak it a little bit and change a title or change the thumbnail or adjust the thumbnail. And that's the stuff that we teach in the course, is these little things like Daryl teaches, small tweaks gives high peaks. So we're taking that information and saying, hey, what have you noticed off of this? And that's what I think you saw on this Discord is him going back and adjusting and tweaking until he gets something that takes off. And that's how important it is, but people don't put that much attention to it. They put a thumbnail on, they set it and forget it. They're like, well, why am I not getting any views? I made like a thumbnail, I made a killer video, and I have 5 views or 100 views.
I know what happens. I can tell you right now, because I was in the same mindset. This happened to me too. I would make the video. I'd spend all the time making the video. I would do all my little keyword research baloney. Then I write out all this description and stuff. And by the time it was supposed to be released, 5 minutes beforehand, as it's uploading on YouTube, I'm making a thumbnail. I didn't think it was that important. I thought that right. It's an finding magical keywords and making these in SEO rich descriptions were the reason why my videos would be found. I didn't know. So I learned a lot. I learned a lot, but that it's really true. If you just take the time to make some small adjustments over time, you can see huge improvements to your overall channel. I have to go back through. I have been slacking on my own channel because I've been investing a lot of time on all sorts of stuff and helping a lot of people in my group. I've been slacking, Joe.
Yeah.
How do you keep motivated? How do you keep motivated, Joe? What happens?
So, well, the way that I keep motivated is an accountability partner. I keep motivated because of you. Like when you're saying, "Hey, you said you were going to do this. What happened? Why aren't you doing this?" Like those things are super important. Even these weekly live streams where even if only one person signs up, we're here, we show up. I think that's telling of what makes things successful as opposed to not, and it's being consistent. Is that we're here, we show up, and if we don't have something to talk, we will make something because there's plenty of things to talk about with YouTube, but it's one of those things where we've committed and we're here. And I think that's probably the biggest thing for me is one, having you to say, hey, we got to do this. And then two, committing to do it and then just following through. And most agents, this is hard. This stuff that we teach, the stuff that we talk about is hard. It's not something that happens overnight. But what I absolutely love is when someone in our group, like Scott, for example, like him saying, this is amazing. This is so much fun. Like I'm enjoying this and he's getting results. Like that to me is exciting. And that to me is motivating too. Like I'm super motivated by his success. And so like, that's the thing that's part of what keeps me going, is why we do these live streams and why we do the course and why we do all this, because we know how to help people get more views that get you those organic leads to give you more business. But we also really, really are passionate about helping people. And I think that's why me personally, like that's why I show up every week.
So you probably didn't see this, but Sean Shackleton posted her monthly, thing that you get from YouTube. And she's had the best month she ever had on her channel, and she's gotten over 1 million views to her channel in the last 28 days. That's awesome. Yeah. She's another one of our students. She's out of Phoenix, Arizona. So, I mean, it works. It works, it does work.
I will say that she's also very active in the group, and she's putting thumbnails up, titles up. She's constantly putting in the work. So like that's the part that the system works, and we know that it does because it comes from a system that's been proven, but you still have to do the work. So if you're like, man, I want to grow, I want to get organic views, I want to get leads, I want all these things, you have to put in the work. And these agents that we're talking about do. And so it's not just they're not lucky. They didn't just luck into it. Like they worked really, really hard to get to where they're at, but they got on the freeway rather than the frontage road because they were able to listen to the advice that we give, because we've kind of been through that and we understand things that maybe they don't quite get yet. But the more they go through it, they get it, right?
Right. I know we have one channel review, but that's not a big deal. But I wanted to ask you one other thing. Have you seen some of these channels recently, real estate agents knocking it out of the park? They're not like the titles are very the thumbnail is just a picture of the house, and then they do a 20-minute walkthrough of the houses where they're just talking. They get killer views on these things.
Yeah.
Have you seen those?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, me too. And they're doing really well. Sometimes they'll show their face, sometimes they don't. There's one guy, he says the same thing. He greets the community the same way, and then he ends all of his vlogs the same way. I'll call it a vlog. It's a walkthrough tour of a house, and he ends them the same way. He's doing it for other people's listings. He's doing it for his own listings, but he's always posting 3 times a day, 20-minute walkthrough tours. Sometimes they're even an hour long, if it's like several in a row in a subdivision. he gets really killer views. And
Yeah.
I'll tell everybody, I always say this, don't put your listing videos on your main channel, because it doesn't make any sense. If you're doing an educational channel about real estate and then you throw your listings on there, dumb. People that are watching listing videos are not watching your educational videos. They just want to
Make
watch.
another channel.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's another lady out of Atlanta that's been doing that for like 8 years. And every single one of her videos has over 100,000 views every single time. And she gets like some of them she'll get over 1 million views. And all it is just walkthrough tours. That's it.
Yeah.
Hers has only music. No talking whatsoever. It's just music and a selfie stick,
Yeah. But that goes to the point of like that each video has a place. And if you're going to be doing a tour and that's what you want to do, then you follow those types of patterns and you do what they're doing, but you do it specifically for that channel so that it can grow organically and that YouTube will suggest it rather than confusing the algorithm because you're putting your son's baseball game, you're doing a walkthrough, and then you're doing 10 tips on how to buy a house. Like it doesn't make sense. And so then that's why you don't get any of those.
It's like when you meet somebody and then you ask them, "Oh, you have a YouTube channel?" They say, "Yeah, it's a variety channel." Like as soon as they say that, I go, "How's that working for you? Not too good, I bet."
We got a question that says, "But do the walkthrough bring phone calls and reach outs?"
Yes, they do. They do, especially when you're doing because I talk to everybody. When you're going through new home builds, it isn't necessarily the house that's for sale, like that, you're listing. It's those new walkthroughs that people are really interested in, the shiny new penny. So when you're showing all those brand new features, the crown molding, the fresh paint, the cool little features like the inset tubs, the what is those things? Centralized vacuum cleaners, with the kick plate, so you can grab the dust by hitting the little button. They love that stuff. Then you can like talk up the wood flooring and like everybody, like, oh, look at these hearts of pine flooring, that honestly make your eyes cross, but you don't say that because you're selling it for the builder. And the builders love it too because it gives them some attention.
Right.
Yeah, they actually do. They do convert, but again, don't put it on your channel. Don't put it on your channel if you're doing education stuff and then start this and think that that's going to work. That's not what's going to work.
Even if you do it, it's going to take some time for it to take traction. And that's why she's saying that they're posting 2 to 3 videos a day. Like it's
a week.
Yeah, I think a week, because the biggest thing is that you're putting out consistent content. That you're pushing that content out and it's the same type of content so that it lets the algorithm find the viewer. And that's what YouTube, that's all they care about, is they want to sell ad space. They want viewers and they want them to stay on as long as possible so that they can make as much money as possible. So if you can figure that out and you have that on a channel, then obviously it works and it makes a lot of sense, but you've got to be consistent at it if that's what you're going to be doing.
Right. But I mean, how easy for any real estate agent, especially like if you're new in an area and you've moved to a new town and you're like, crap, what am I going to do to get clients?
Yeah, that's a super simple way to do it. Go to a builder.
Simple way.
Hey, do you care if I do a tour of your new construction, and you get your little phone and your gimbal and you just walk around and talk about it? Yeah. Great.
And then you take that and cut it down and turn them into TikToks, And then you make an Instagram account doing the same exact thing. All you're doing is tours. You make separate accounts from your personal account of just tours. So it's all consistent across all the social media sites. And you're literally doing the same thing, but cutting up the content for all 3 of those or 4 of those platforms, whatever platforms you're putting it on. I mean, it's pretty smart if you ask me, especially if you hate being on camera.
Yeah, and if you hate editing too, that's the other thing, is like you can just run through it. You don't have to like worry about jump cutting, like doing any of the transitional that you have to do with educational. But it's just hey, here's the tour, and people understand. Oh, okay, it might get a little shaky or whatever, and it's totally fine because that's part of doing a tour.
The one of like 3 of the ones that I'm thinking of the top of my head, that's exactly what they do. They are walking around with a gimbal and their cell phone. and they are just like opening doors, and sometimes they hit it and the gimbal will go like this, and the phone shakes or whatever, and they just leave it in there. They just leave it in there. It's part of the ride. One guy talks the whole entire time like he's talking to people that are watching, but he makes it seem like it's a live stream, but it's not a live stream. So he's like, "Oh, you remember Angela? You were asking about those closets. Look inside here. It's all uploaded content. It was never live, but he makes it sound like there's a bunch of people watching." And he's he's having a whole conversation, and then he has like a name of his fans and all that, like the fan club, or hello my blah 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 people, shalom, and like all this stuff. He doesn't have this. He has this whole thing down. Like it's like a bit, but it's consistent, the same exact thing every single time.
Yeah,
it's wild.
That's amazing. But I mean, that goes to show like how simple of an idea that you can do. And, then you can get into more complex things, obviously, which is like what we talk a lot about is the educational part of teaching, like, how to educate your clients and how to, find the right niche and make sure that you're, doing all those things to get the views, because it all comes down to, like, I know a lot of people have a hard time wrapping their brain around, well, how do you get leads from YouTube? How do you really do that? And the thing is when you provide value and you offer value, and then you make it very simple for them to get a hold of you, you get leads. Because YouTube automatically, like, you're building that trust, like, oh, you know what you're talking about. You've been doing these things, but it's so simple to get a very simple page to get them to get a hold of you. You were going to say something. It looked like you were, at least.
I am, because that was another thing that came up recently. It was like, what's the best call to action for converting people? And like I know, and I've heard this from several real estate educators when it comes to YouTube. At the beginning of the video, they tell people to like, share, and subscribe to their videos. Like, share, and subscribe to your videos. And I always say, who cares if they like, share, and subscribe to your videos? What do you really want them to do? Want them to call you. Yeah. Like, why are you telling them to do something for you like that? I mean, when it means
if you're going to tell them to do something, tell them to call you.
Right. If you're only getting 100 views to your channel, who cares if they like, share, and subscribe, any of that stuff? What you really wanted that person to do is pick up the phone and call you. Make those 100 views worth it. So I would say, make your calls to action very specific, very intentional, and very simple. What do you say, Joe?
Yeah, I concur. Like, the thing is that the simpler you can make things, the better it's going to be. And a lot of people will put a link to their website, but it doesn't go to like an actual like landing page or squeeze page where you can get their information. It just takes you to like the home page, and then they have to navigate to a contact page or whatever. You want it literally within 1 or 2 clicks for them to be able to get a hold of you. And I think that's a big mistake that a lot of people make, is they need to consider the user and how, like, they're lazy. They want to do the least path of resistance. It's like water, and I'm going to go this way until it goes this way or whatever, but I just want to go the easiest way. So if you make it very simple for them, you're going to get more leads.
I think some of the things with when I look at some real estate content, they're so used to following a script, following a template in life. So when they hear somebody like you and I say something completely different than what they've read in a book, what they've been taught in some of these real estate classes, like, we're saying something completely different, their instantaneous reaction is visceral. And I've had that happen to me personally. They're like, oh no, you have to have that kind of engagement in order to have momentum to your channel. I'm like,
yeah. No, like, at the end of the day,
that's what they hear,
Yeah, I think that at the end of the day, they have to realize that, like, the difference is, and I would say the biggest difference is that it's a human on the other end. You're talking to a person. Like, you need to understand your audience, who you're talking to, and just like getting regular leads from referrals from friends, YouTube is that friend that's giving you a referral. You just have to follow up with it, but make it super simple. I think that's the hardest thing, is people overcomplicate how easy it is to get leads when you provide value from a video. They already like you. It's actually better than internet leads. I've done lots of internet leads and they're never as good as like a YouTube lead. Like the YouTube leads are so much better.
Back in the day, internet leads were awesome. Back when like it was like nobody was doing them.
Back when Facebook was actually awesome and didn't have fair housing laws.
Yeah. Well, back when there wasn't fair housing advertising on Facebook, that was amazing. I mean, everybody you talked to, they were like, "I can't believe you called," you know.
Right.
But then that changed. So that's why I ended up on YouTube in the first place, because I was not paying for anybody to watch my videos or anything like that. But like, because all my business now is I refer clients to other real estate agents across the country. I don't want to sell houses anymore. That's my model currently. That's not what I always did. But you wouldn't believe how incredibly excited people are. And then they're like, "Oh, I don't want to keep any more of your time. Thank you so much for taking the time and talking to me." And I never have to sell anything. And then as soon as I say, "Oh, I have a friend for you out there in Utah. I've worked with him forever. We've been friends forever. And I know you're going to love him." They don't even question it. And like, as soon as they get that referral, that agent gets that referral instantaneously, they already have the listing. They already have to, like, they love me, you know, like anybody I get, like, they're in here, you know, when they're in here, they know they're in here and they answer my calls right away because they know they're going to get good clients. The people that reach out to you on YouTube are so much different than any kind of like lead capture, you know, software with drip mail campaign nonsense. You know, like so many of those emails that go out that we put out as real estate agents, even if you add your video to add blah, 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 blah. No.
It's still so cold.
As soon as, like, honest to God, you know what I do in the morning? I go through it. I just go and delete all of them. And that's what a good portion of the people that you're putting in your drip mail campaign. And I know that the thing is that, oh, it's fine because, you know, like there's going to be a few people. It's just like doing any farming out of a neighborhood. You're just going to have to keep doing it. You can end up in the junk mail. And I know that if you're using some drip mail campaign type things, if you have enough people that put you in junk, they'll kick you out of their whole entire system. You can't use it anymore. They'll blacklist you. So just be careful about that. So we do have one lonely
number. Well, let's do it.
One lonely. One is the lonely.
I'm still mad my mic is not working. I literally am so mad about that.
That's all right. You still sound amazing. I mean,
even
in a bucket, you sound amazing.
I'm in a bucket now.
All right. We have the Firefighter Realtor, your Dallas-Fort Worth resource. All right. Can I start?
You go for it.
All right. First off, we're looking at your banner. I love that you have the Dallas-Fort Worth area right here in the background. Think that's fantastic. I love that you're the firefighting realtor, but you're not you're telling everybody who you are. You're not telling them what you're going to do for them. So I would make this call to action here, letting them know what you're going to do for them. What is it they're going to get from your content? They already know who you are here because the title of your channel is the Firefighter Realtor, right? You don't need to write it on your banner. Put on your banner what you're actually what kind of content you're making for them. Another thing is your picture here. Lovely picture, except for you obviously took this way.
Yep.
Yeah, and you cut off your arm. So if you wanted to still continue to use this picture, blow it up some so this arm isn't cut off. Or you can actually even like clone the picture and just make yourself a fake arm. I've done that plenty of times. Yeah. And then you don't need to subscribe here. That's not necessary because the subscribe is right here. If they're on this page, they see a big giant white subscribe button right here. So you don't need that on your banner. I wouldn't put that there. So what do you have to say, Joe? Joe Eves.
I think that it's a very clean banner for sure.
Yes.
I definitely agree with you on all of the things that you mentioned. I do think that he could put if you're going to do the EXP, I would try to get a different, like maybe a white version of it. And if you're going to,
there isn't one. You can do white outline of it.
And outline it or something, just so you can see it a little better if you're going to have the brokerage on there. But all I would do is literally just move that over and get rid of the notifications and subscribe to know more. Like that, I would just move that over and then just leave it. And then everything else would be very clean. It looks really good. I would, on your profile, I would put your face on there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't leave your firefighter logo, even though it's cool. You're a person and you want to be relatable, and that's what that profile picture would do. It would look cool though if you had your picture there and then like a red outline or like a gradient that you have, that red gradient, like have that so that the color pops more. I think that would look cool.
Yeah, matter of fact, somebody in our chat has a pretty cool gradient. You see right here, look at the gradient on his. That would be perfect. Living in Williamson County, that gradient on your photograph would be perfect for your profile picture.
I actually like that. And he's got his little cup that he's like drinking from. I think that's great.
Oh yeah, he's on Facebook. He has a big YouTube symbol over his face. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah. So definitely that would be one thing that, you know, I think you could improve on, and it would definitely, you know, just give you more presence and people can, you know, get to see you a little bit better. That's what you're trying to do, but without in your face.
I'm playing with buttons.
I see that. I'm like moving all over here.
Yeah. Oh,
all right. What else do you want to look at?
All right. We're just showing him now. They're not even going to get to see us. So you can get to pick your nose now. All right. So we're going to go right into the, we'll just look at his thumbnails really quick. And just from first glance, what do you see, Joe?
So I mean, I think that if he wants to be on them the way that he's doing it, that's totally fine. But there's too many words. There's just there's too many words on the thumbnails. They need, like we talk about in almost every single one of our live streams, the thumbnail, you should be able to tell the story of what the video is about with just images without having to do text or minimal text. And so he's, you know, at least he's not duplicating the text as the same as the title, but there's just too much text. There's just too much going on.
There's too many words altogether. Like at the absolute maximum, 5 words. And I'm like, that's stretching it. Like I usually say 3.
Right.
You know, so like, is this becoming my favorite builder in DFW? I mean, that's 8 words.
Right.
Like, stop. Like, yeah. So like this specific picture, I think he's fine. I just move him over to the right and make the picture of the house much bigger, right? Yeah. So sharpen that image that you have in the background and really emphasize that house. And then you pointing to that house, take all of those words off of there, every single one of it.
Yep. That the house, really, the peak of the roof there could really be the top of the thumbnail. I mean, you could really bring that up a ton. And if they have a very specific, you know, like logo or graphic or something, you could incorporate that with it. But realistically, the house itself, very simple. I would just do those 2 things, like Christina says, for sure. Yeah. And it would look a lot different.
Yep. The next one, he has best builder for first time home buyers. And then the title is Bloomingfield Homes in, I'm not even going to pronounce that name, Texas for sale. Midlothian? I don't know.
Midlothian? I don't know. Sorry.
Midlothian. Anyways, go ahead. You go first and I'll go throw my 2 cents in.
Okay. Well, first of all, you don't need to subscribe on the thumbnail. Like that would be the first thing to take off. Again, you got, if you're talking about a home builder, you're talking about like best for first time home buyer. So like best builder, like show the builder. Like I would even show it as like something being built, like being under construction, because that tells you that it's being built. It's a builder rather than a home that's already done or the model home or whatever. I personally would do something more along the lines of a home that's being framed or something that shows that it's under construction, and, you know, do that. If you want to have your face on there and everything, that's totally fine. I would just make your your face bigger and kind of slide over more to the right. You're kind of coming too far to the left. So, and then obviously all the text, the drop shadow on all that, I would get rid of.
Yep. All that text needs to go away. Every single bit of it. If you want to do something cool to make it stand out, throw the Texas flag behind the roof line of the house. Yep. Yeah. So pretty much consistently, we're going to be saying the same exact thing. Get the words off the images. Take the subscribe button off of all of these. This one is actually a pretty good one.
Yeah, I like the facial expression. I like this stuff. Still a lot of words though.
Yeah, too many words. Yep. He could have done this without. Yeah, you could have taken that off of there altogether.
Yeah. Or make like a really, really brief statement, like best builder ? I mean, you can, if you have to put a word on there, just think like one or two words if you can do that.
He's got a bigger noggin on these ones.
Yeah.
Better. Yeah. Oh, look, this one's not that bad.
Yeah.
Still, you don't need that on there though.
Right.
To me, like we were just talking about this at the beginning. Whenever you hire a editor for your thumbnails, 99.9% of them that I ever see, I already know you hired somebody to do it, and this is what they made for you. You thought that looked great, and it does look great, but it's not what people click on.
Right.
Yep, that was perfect example. Same with this one. Yep. Anyway, all right.
Yeah. So
that was it. That was. Oh wait, let's look at the Here's About section really quick. Ta-da-da! Welcome to the home of the Firefighter Realtor. My name is Sal. All right, Joe, take it away.
Okay, so again, what we talked about in the beginning with your channel art is you're talking about you. You need to be talking about your client. Like what value proposition are you going to be giving? If they're coming to your channel, what are they coming and what is the benefit that you're going to give them rather than, what you're talking about? And so I probably would have gotten rid of that first part and been like this channel's number one goal is to provide valuable information for anyone in any real estate service. I probably wouldn't do it exactly like that, but I would at least start with that rather than who you are and the firefighter realtor and your name. Like that stuff could be at the very bottom.
We a couple shows back, we had a really great tip, and everybody that I've talked to that changed it, they're like, God, that was so easy. Basically, copy and paste this that you currently have into Chat GPT and tell Chat GPT, rewrite this for me so that it sounds more for the specific person watching and less about me talking about myself. I want, like put it that way, right? Chat GPT.
It works really well.
2.5 seconds. 2.5 seconds goes, and if you have it on your phone, it actually makes the phone vibrate. It is, you actually hear it. Anyways, yeah, it'll take you a couple seconds. And this last little line, it says, still growing and getting to know myself on social media. So if you have any input, please let me know. Don't do that. Do you know what you need to do? This is what you need to say. I'm still growing my real estate business in DFW. If there's anything you need to know, here is my contact information. Boom. Who cares what you are in social media? Honestly,
and get rid of your TikTok stuff.
Yeah, because we tell people this all the time. What you really want them to do is contact you. Right. I know in your mind that like having a bunch of TikTok followers and having a bunch of YouTube followers and subscribers count, they literally mean dog crap if they're not calling you on the phone.
Right.
What you really want them to do is contact you. So the only information you should have there is to contact you. So your cell phone, your email, and a landing page that's a very simple landing page to either book a call with you or just, a referral form of some sort where you get their name, their contact info, and their email address. Boom. Make it super easy for them.
Yeah. And a lot of people, they're willing to give that information out when you provide the value. So that's the big difference, is making sure that that you have that, you've done the work, you've made the video, you've provided value. Now make it very simple for them to get back to you. And people do, they will, like, if they feel like you did something that they got something out of it, they will contact you. And they'll be like, that was really good information. Like, I'm doing this. Could you give me some more advice? Because, you know, you didn't really cover that in your video, but I'm very interested in understanding what your take is on that. And then it's a very simple call. Hey, yeah, let's set up a Zoom or let's set up a phone call and we'll go over that. It's so easy.
I'm trying to play with buttons.
I'm trying
to figure out all these things do. There's a plus, there's a shift plus. Hold on. I feel like I want to know what this one does. It says spotlight layout. Press shift 4 +4. Oh, look.
I think it made you bigger.
Yeah, I know, but I didn't like that. I wanted to make you bigger since you were the one that was talking, but I can't apparently because I'm the guest, like the host. Whatever. All right, we're rounding out the hour. I appreciate everybody spending their time with us this week. I have you know that when I first started my real estate YouTube channel and I did my first live stream, I only had 4 people watching him, and 2 of them were my dad, and he was on a computer.
Different devices.
On 2 devices. He was on his iPad and he had it going on his desktop. So it was my dad in 2 rooms. And then I don't know who the other 2 people were. And I just made up garbage when I went along. I made a bullet point script of things I was going to say. And I just was talking to myself the whole entire time. And it takes a while, but I will promise you, if everybody would take the time to do a live stream, you will connect with an audience on a deeper level where they completely trust you. My business, my referral business mostly comes from my live streams because people genuinely feel like I'm connected to them, that I'm talking to them. And there's people that show up every single Sunday to hear me blab my mouth.
Yeah, because you're there. You're there.
You want to hear me every Sunday.
Source of entertainment. They're like, hey, I got to block this time out because guess what? We're not getting anything new because of the writer's strike. So you might as well jump on that wagon right now and get going with it.
And that is another point I will end this with, is that if you think that right now, you know, like, oh, I don't know, business slow, I don't know what to do. This is right now the perfect time for you to understand and start really diving into YouTube. It's the easiest way, you know, when people say, oh, I don't know, I don't want to spend money on marketing, pick up your freaking phone and start making content. Because of the writer strike, people are bored, and guess where they're going to? For the first time ever, YouTube has outbeat Netflix as far as streaming is concerned. People are jumping over to YouTube because they don't like traditional television. They don't like paying for it. And then YouTube is for free. So fill in that gap with your content. You know, you believe it or not, people like what you have to say as long as you're talking to them and not talking about yourself.
Yeah.
They'll listen. So this is your perfect opportunity. And we want to let you know that we don't do this for our own health. If you want a helping hand with your YouTube channel, Joe and I have a program called the Real Estate Video Geeks. You can go to our website at realestatevideogeeks.com and you can sign up for our course. And Joe and I will personally handhold you through the whole process of your YouTube channel and get you started off just like Scott.
Yep, exactly.
Yep. So long, everybody. Do you want to end with anything? Do you want to say anything?
I don't play some music and we'll just be like, yeah, what's up?
Oh yeah. You ready? Let's see what this music sounds like. This is kind of too chill.
Is it a little chill? We need like I guess you don't want the up.
Here we go. You ready? Yeah. It's ready? This is like, you really want to get down, man. Wow. Yeah.
Oh, I'm dying. That's